Am I the butthole for having my wedding ceremony in sign language? I'm female, 24, deaf, and growing up my parents got me bilateral cochlear implants and forced me into mainstream school, never taught me sign language and never immersed me into my culture as a deaf person. They were actually pretty against me using ASL at all. Well, I took ASL in high school against my parents' wishes and then got into a deaf university. Although I couldn't sign fluently when I started, I finally felt accepted and understood. The deaf community was nothing but welcoming. I became fluent in ASL after a few months and stopped wearing my processors completely as there was no need for them anymore. I honestly didn't realize how alone I had felt until I didn't feel that way anymore. I also met my fiancé at college. He is from a very large family of deaf people. Everyone he knows, even in his far extended family, is deaf, ho, coda or soda, and everyone is fluent in sign. I love his family so much. We've been together for 4 years now. He proposed last May. We've been planning the wedding and decided to have it fully in ASL. The pastor at our church's deaf program agreed to do the ceremony. My extended family of hearing people is very small, just my mom, my dad, my sister, my brothers, my aunt, my uncle, and my cousin. My cousin is learning sign. Whereas my fiancé's huge extended family, who are all deaf or sign fluently, will be there, and most of our friends are deaf or no sign. We decided to get an interpreter for the hearing people though, so they'd know what was going on. Our wedding is in August, so we just sent the invites. The invite mentions that it will be in ASL, but we'll have an interpreter for those who are signing impaired, which is kind of just a joke. But my mom started texting me and tried to convince me that it should be in English and have an ASL interpreter. I feel like it's our wedding, so we should have it in our first language, but my mom thinks that we are in America, so English should be the first language, and anyone who doesn't choose to get cured, get an implant, should get an interpreter. She also said it was disrespectful to say signing impaired. I don't think she realizes the irony, as she always refers to me as hearing impaired. During the entire conversation she kept repeating that I should have never let you go to that school. My mom also says that the deaf people should be used to having interpreters, whereas she's never had one before, so it will make it harder to understand. Am I the butthole here? Should I just have the ceremony in English, because I guess that's the more normal way of communication, even though we consider sign our primary language? Edit: to clarify some things, I can't cut off my parents as I'm currently helping pay for my little brother to go to a school for autistic kids. We can't sign and speak at the same time. The pastor and my fiancé can't speak. I can but choose not to unless I absolutely have to. My parents didn't only not learn ASL, but they explicitly prevented me from it growing up. We lived in Austin, Texas my whole childhood, and there was a school for the deaf 10 minutes from our house, but they specifically said they would never let me go there. Adding this later, exact words from the invite: reception will be held in ASL, English interpreters will be provided for the signing impaired. I literally put it in quotations. The deaf community didn't indoctrinate me into not wearing my processors. I just started using ASL more and more, and then I needed a surgery to adjust the implant, but I decided to just not get the surgery and stop wearing them. There was no real point in it, and I didn't feel like getting an unnecessary surgery. Another edit: to those of you questioning and even mad at me for not wanting to wear implants, you don't hear normally. Like a lot of people say things like, don't you want to hear music? Or birds chirping? Music through C's suck, at least for me. Even when I used to wear C's all the time, I would take them off to listen to music. And no, background noise like birds chirping makes it harder for the microphone to pick up other noises like people talking. Not the butthole. Not even close. Why should the couple getting married need a translator to understand their own ceremony to appease a few of the attendees? That is ridiculous. It would be like having a bride and groom who are hearing, love the sign impaired joke, that speak English have their ceremony done in French, which they don't speak, because a handful of attendees don't speak English. When you take ASL out of the mix, it sounds ridiculous. Why is ASL any different? In my honest opinion, your mom has issues with you being deaf, and bigger issues now that you have found your community to which she does not belong. That is toxic, and I would not cater to it. Original poster replies: my mom's argument has always been it's easier for you to stick an implant on your head than for everyone in the family to learn a new language, yet she also doesn't view ASL as a real language. And by her argument, it's easier for your family to listen to the interpreter than to make all the remaining guests struggle to follow along. She is wrong. Do what is best for you and the supportive family you are creating/joining. Also, if she believes English is the standard and everyone should speak it, and the interpreter would be speaking English, why would it be difficult for her to now understand the language she so loves and values? Weak sauce manipulative argument. Good for you, original poster. Honestly, all the cheers for you and you doing what's right for you in your life. Your wedding is going to be amazing. Congratulations on everything. The interpreter would be speaking English. This is what I'm hung up on. Momzilla can watch the ceremony and listen to the interpreter simultaneously. This is literally not an issue. The hearing impaired are usually forced to make their eyes jump back and forth between the action and the signer. But I guess that's okay because they didn't choose to get cured. Ugh. I feel so sorry for original poster's little bro on the autism spectrum. If her parents made her feel like crap for not being able to hear, I can't imagine what that poor boy is going through. Plus original poster is paying for his schooling. Good on you, original poster, for paying for your bro to go to a special school when you didn't get to at his age. Not the butthole. This is the kind of entitled bordering on outright bigoted attitude that leads people to bitch and moan about having to press 1 for English. Logic doesn't really enter into it, just a self-centered worldview that sees anyone different as inherently second class. My mom's argument has always been it's easier for you to stick an implant on your head than for everyone in the family to learn a new language, yet she also doesn't view ASL as a real language. This is horrible. I understand a parent giving their kid an implant to give them options later in life. Being able to hear and speak without accent does make life easier simply because the majority of people are hearing peaking. I understand a parent that is not deaf trying to do what they think is best for their kid. But you told them what was best for you, original poster, and they refused to listen. And now you're saying they didn't give you implants for the right reasons, but because they were lazy? Seriously, have that ceremony in ASL, and if your parents don't like it, then can stay at home. None so deaf as those who will not hear. What she means is, it's easier for me if you wear an implant than it would be for me to change my worldview. Not the butthole. Your mom has been purposely making your life harder for the last 24 years just so she doesn't have to be slightly inconvenienced. If she doesn't want to be slightly inconvenienced even on your goddamn wedding day, then remind her that she doesn't have to attend the wedding at all. I suspect you'll have a better time if she isn't there. Edit. Definitely not the butthole. My mom thinks that we are in America, so English should be the first language. Not the butthole, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's called American Sign Language, kind of makes her statement funny. Yes. That's what made me laugh while reading. To be fair, that never really clicked for me until I met a friend who was a Japanese sign language interpreter, and then it was like, oh my god, that's so obvious all sign languages would be different in each country. Why did I never think of that before? Laughing out loud. Live and learn. But the mom's already ignorant comment just became more ignorant with that. Oh my god, that's so obvious all sign languages would be different in each country. Why did I never think of that before? Sign languages are like spoken languages in that their borders do not necessarily correspond to political borders. The United States has at least 2, ASL and Hawaiian, the latter somewhat recently discovered, and ASL is used in many different countries: Barbados, Haiti, Gabon, Singapore, etc. Canada has at least 2, ASL and LSQ, the latter being in Quebec. Jamaica has at least 2, Concrete Sign and Jamaican SL, the latter being descended from British SL, which is unrelated to ASL, and so on. So just as not every country has its own spoken language, with some sharing and others having their own or many of their own, so too with sign languages. Also, it could be fun to remind her English in America is an imported language. Hard to understand? The interpreter is literally going to be speaking a language she understands, so she can understand it. She's already an A for how she treated you growing up and not even learning any sign when her kid is deaf, and now this? Not the butthole. Not only that, but because mom can listen without looking at the interpreter, she'll get to hear and see what's going on. If the ceremony was in English and an ASL interpreter provided, the majority of guests would be looking at the interpreter instead of the bride and groom during the ceremony. It doesn't make any sense to have the ceremony in English. I'll bet the reception is going to be a real shock to Mom's system. Most of the guests will be speaking in ASL. Not the butthole. Exactly. Plus it's the way that the bride and groom communicate, so it's easier for them, which is most important here. It's literally their day. Original poster replies. They claim it's hard to understand because it will be weird to have one person interpreting for 3 different people: the pastor, my fiancé, and I. But like, I need interpreters at least once a week, and it's not that hard in my opinion. I'm hearing, but I've lived in countries where I don't speak the local language and have had to rely on translators/interpreters before. I can vouch for the fact that it's not that hard. She's being deliberately difficult because she's not getting her way. I'm sorry, original poster, you deserve a supportive family, and I'm glad you found one in your in-laws. Not the butthole. It's your wedding. You could do the vows in Klingon if you wanted, and no one would have the right to complain. Original poster replies. I bet my fiancé would be a fan of that, laughing out loud, he loves Star Trek. If you want to be especially petty, you could have the ceremony in ASL, then have a Klingon interpreter. Original poster replies. Wait, is that a real thing? Like minion language or something? Sorry if that sounds dumb, I know nothing about Star Trek. It's a fully developed Conlong, constructed language, with hundreds of words and a functional grammar structure. You can even learn it on Duolingo, now. Shakespeare's Hamlet has been translated and performed in Klingon. You could 100% translate a wedding into Klingon. Original poster replies. Wow, okay, I don't think we'll do that for the wedding, but my fiancé will probably want it at his bachelor party, laughing out loud. Web link. Not the butthole. It's your wedding. Not hers. It sounds like your wedding is designed to feel comfortable and natural for a majority of your guests, with reasonable accommodations for the few outliers, the signing impaired. Your mom sounds ableist as F. I'm so sorry. I wish she were able to wrap her head around the fact that any discomfort/awkwardness/exclusion she may anticipate feeling from your proposed wedding plan is just a small taste of what you have likely experienced living in a hearing world for such a large part of your life. That said, it seems like you found your way to a loving and accepting community and family. Congratulations and have a beautiful wedding. Heart, heart, heart. Not the butthole. Maybe this will teach her ableist butt about what you as a deaf person feel and go through regularly. You're just giving her a taste of her own idiotology, although in a non-mean and hilarious manner. Also, congrats on your wedding, and I wish you the best. 2 hearts. Wait. It'll be harder for your mother, whose first language is English, to understand spoken English, because that spoken English will be someone repeating what you already said in ASL? That sounds so incredibly effing stupid. I don't think there are words in any language to express how effing stupid that sounds, although one of the few swears I know in ASL comes to mind. Everyone knows bullcrap in ASL, right? You are so very not the butthole here. I feel like having a wedding in the language that both of the people getting married speak as a first language is the most normal and natural thing in the world. You made difficult adult decisions about how you want to live your life, and it isn't the place of your parents or any other hearing person to tell you how to be a deaf person. Again, just the thought that someone thinks that's okay is beyond my understanding. Original poster replies. They think it will be hard to understand one person interpreting for 3 people: the pastor, my fiancé, and I. And also, most things aren't a direct translation, so there might be a bit of a lag time, but I use interpreter for almost everything, and in my opinion it's not that hard. They think it will be hard to understand one person interpreting for 3 people. I'm not deaf, but that makes me think welcome to understanding deaf people, you jackass. Deaf people have been watching a single ASL translator doing it for multiple people on TV and public events for decades. Your parents need to get over themselves. Not the butthole at all. I am hearing. And I wish ASL was taught more in the public. I wouldn't want to impose deaf culture, but I took classes in collage and I don't understand why sign language isn't more included in society as a whole. It's useful and beautiful. I really enjoyed learning about it, even though I never became fluent. And just so you know, the US does not have an official language. So threw that back in your mother's face if she bring up English again. Not the butthole. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.